Good evening and welcome to the Laughing Monkey Music Show. Today we have on Reggie. Reggie's from Heaven's Edge. How are you?
I am doing great. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm glad we could make some time. I know it's been crazy during this time of year to gather up. So you are, a masterful player. Another one of the great bands that people say didn't. I guess they didn't get full due because let's face it, every rock band around late '80s took a hit. But the fact we're talking about your band right now and you're still playing, which is better than most bands.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
The fact I can, go on iTunes and go here and there and see your videos on YouTube's and the YouTube, like the kids call it, is fantastic. I mean, so you have made a mark, and you guys still sound fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
I know if you just look at a mini bio, just people that aren't aware, you guys had started back in was it '87, right? And playing
The band, me and Mark, put it together in '87, and we hit the ground running. I mean, he was in a really big cover band called Network Cover / Original. They had some great original stuff, but I remember seeing him, and he was a killer bass player, and I was like, that's the guy I need in my band, and but I was just like, he would never leave Network. They're just phenomenal, and just through his girlfriend, now wife Jeannie, I'm like, do you think I could pass on this tape? This is a song I wrote. Maybe Mark would be interested in checking it out. He was interested, and he laid down some vocals on it, and we said, let's give it a shot. And the guy was just so dedicated, like playing in this cover band till 2 o'clock, back then 2 o'clock in the morning, living up by New Hope, driving down, an hour and a half to my house, and we write songs, and we hit our first 17 songs, and we just knew that we had something special.
That's really pretty incredible, the kind of chemistry. I mean, I think as an artist, and you're playing in a lot of bands, who's a knucklehead and who's going to be your partner musically. You always want to find your Keith Richards, Jagger.
Yes,
find them, clearly, you want to grab on tight. And
yes, absolutely.
And that's exactly probably what he saw too, because he's like, all right, this is for money, it's fun, good band, but this is a connection. This is a musical songwriting partner.
Yes. And not only musical songwriting partner, but like my family. He's my brother,
Exactly. So. But at the time, he knew, So yeah, and pretty quickly, you guys got, for most bands, you guys got signed and you guys got huge fast.
I think Cinderella really opened those doors. Sorry to cut you off there. Cinderella, Brittany Fox, Bon Jovi had come down. We were playing this little club called the Galaxy, and Bon Jovi had played there, and I guess he saw Cinderella and really liked them and helped Cinderella get a record deal. And
this is all right. These are all so this is Philly or New Jersey.
This is like South Jersey, yeah, but we call it the Philly scene, and they got signed and they hit it big, and then Brittany Fox, and we're like, wow, we have our own little, not Sunset Strip, but our own little thing.
Yeah.
Like prior to that, nobody was getting record deals out of New Jersey, Philly. I mean, unless you were the Hooters or Boyz II Men, Tommy Conwell, Robert Hazard, I think bands like that, but no like hard rock bands, hair metal bands,
I didn't know you guys were a Philly band when I first heard you guys. So I remember I had the cassette, and I was in college in Atlanta. I'm in New England, obviously, but I was in college in Atlanta and I got the cassette, and I just assumed, like all the other bands migrated out until, Hollywood to make the deal.
Right.
I didn't know that because, I mean, when you knew like Brittany Fox, Cinderella was from Philly, and then saw Bon Jovi in Jersey, and you knew that story, and they go, oh, Brittany Fox is the branch off from that the other label was trying to do. But you guys were not that same. Do you guys need to look similar,
Right. Yeah, I mean, but people just started looking in our area, and I guess the main thing is this gentleman Bill Hague, who owned this club, the Galaxy, and Bonnie from a place called Bonnie's, and there was this Empire Rock Room in Philly. They allowed bands to do original music, because prior to that, it was all cover music in this area. There was a huge booking agent, Apollo Artists, who Freddie Baker, wonderful person, and God rest his soul, he was the biggest booking agent, but to play this area, you had to be a cover band. And I was in a cover band, Warrior. We were doing like Judas Priest, living after, songs like that. And, I think he caught us doing originals one night and we were canned, but that could have been the best thing that ever happened to me. It was, and then my singer in Warrior was just like, dude, what are you wasting your time doing other people's music. You gotta, 16, 17 at the time. He's like, you gotta write your own music. And I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, so.
I totally agree with that. When I was in bands and singing, that's what I did. They're like, let's do a bunch of songs. We did like 3 covers. I'm like, I like 10 originals. But people don't like that though. Also, when they go to take you to a party, if they have you 10 of your originals, it's a couple of
Yes,
covers.
yes. I
So
mean, I get the concept. People want to dance to music. They want to dance or hear music they know. So of course they want to hear the songs that are on the radio. But for an original band, and I'm a true believer that you can't split it. Like there were a lot of bands that were like Network, half cover, half original. Like I think you need to just give 1,000% to your original music so you can form your own identity. You can't be your own person when you're doing half your night doing Journey songs,
right.
So
That is actually, it's funny you actually mentioned Journey because not that I feel like you guys sound like Journey, but you got such a strong melody with strong rocking guitars that reminds me very similar.
oh, thanks.
Journey,
Okay.
like during like the power songs, like Stone Cold, like the really powerful, when Neil's just really.
Right.
I'm not just talking about like the big battles. I'm not dogging them or saying anything good or bad about them. I'm just saying the blueprint of having strong, powerful A&R melodies was just the guitars, and then there's the keyboards because you were also a piano player. Now you were raised piano and took up guitar, and you know, I saw an interview you did, and I think it's funny when your parents got on you after beating you down of playing music for so
I
long.
know. My whole
Like, you
life.
want to do this, and you're like, really, really?
In the Chinese culture, it's all about education and going on to be a doctor. And my brother and sisters both doctors, and they're all, all awesome musicians. But I wanted to do music, and they were so against it. So I'm just like, oh
So
well.
funny though. It really is funny. The interview I'm talking about, for people that don't know, refer you over to the Heaven's Edge website. It's on YouTube if you just Google Reggie also, but it's also linked on their website. It's a fun little interview. It's kind of a good soup to nuts, and that's why we're not going to go too deep. We don't have to go too deep in, the bio. We can talk about things nowadays, current.
Right.
I don't live,
Okay.
I don't live, I have to live in the past forever. But just to bring people up to speed, so you guys got signed and released your first great album. And then I know, and that was after that album is when your bass player, right? He got shot or something. And
Yeah, right as we were releasing the first record, we were having a little party at the Empire Rock Room, the club I was just mentioning, and some drunk guy was just like, causing problems. Bouncers like, get out of here, you're out, threw him out. Drunk guy was like, I'm coming back and killing everybody. And this is back in 1990 when
wow.
guns weren't that big, and very sadly, guns are like, it's like normal now. It's
Right.
nuts. You just hear in Philly, like the homicides with the guns are just off the charts. I'm like, do people really carry guns and like kill people? And that's what's happening. But back then it was not a big thing. And he came back with the sawed-off shotgun. Me and my wife had literally left 2 minutes before George left, and it could have been us. And he just came back with the shotgun. It was a sawed-off shotgun, so apparently sawed-off means it goes like this. It sprays,
Yes, like a scatter.
rather than a big hole like in the middle of it. And maybe that was a blessing. I don't even know. But he took over 150 pellets from here down, and
Wow.
and just he stumbled back into the club. His groin was just gushing everything, and just he was just wonderful. I mean, I love all the guys in the band, but George was our rock star. He was our Tommy Lee.
He was very exciting, and he unfortunately he passed not that long ago. So
Yes.
that wasn't his time then. He had still had some rocking to do.
Oh,
And
he just
the lead
he
guys
came back.
along,
He came back strong, and the label, our management were like, we need to find another bass player. And we're like, no, we gotta wait for him. Like, and in that little wait, Grunge came in and knocked us out, and that was the end of our career.
it was going to happen. Even if
Eventually.
it's more important that you showed loyalty.
Absolutely.
It's just better human being. Because listen, even so, people always have like regrets. Like, so say you didn't, say you did it, you had couple extra months or whatever. There's no guarantee.
No, right.
And then you guys, or there've been no guarantee. You guys are friends now, and you guys didn't get back together and still play at this point in your life. That could have been it.
Right.
So
you have everything's for a reason.
Exactly. It's and it's sometimes it's more important to do the right thing for the right reason.
Absolutely. Right.
And everything will work out. More often. So, like I said, grunge kind of killed a lot everybody. The record stations killed everybody. The copying of everybody killed ate itself. The rock world was
Yeah.
not it was not helping itself at that point by having the 15th copy of a copy of a copy either.
Yes. Right. Right.
But to that point, you guys said separated, and then you started doing some other music, right, with another band. A couple of you guys had started doing some other stuff.
Well, me, George, the bass player, and Dave, the drummer. Mark just said, "I've had it. I'm out." And he started a band, a cover band, just to make sure some money was still coming in. And it's me, George, and Dave. We tried to go grunge. We got a singer, Sean Carmen, and we were called American Pie. And we were trying to do the whole flannel shirt, but people saw right through it. We were not miserable people. No, I don't want to say
you're talented. No, the other problem is like a lot of guitar players that can really play. You know,
yes,
you really lost your place there. You know what I mean?
yeah, no. Which brings me to like one of my favorite guitar players nowadays is Mark Tremonti. Like, how did he put out all those Creed records without soloing? Like, he wasn't known as a guitar player. You know what I mean? And he comes out with Alter Bridge, and here he is. He's freaking like the next big thing. He's unbelievable. And all those solo records, he's an incredible guitarist. Like,
I agree with you. Actually, the other thing I didn't realize, I feel like it snuck up on me was, where did he get all this material from? Because he has Tremonti, and then he has Alter Bridge, and then he was Creed. Like, I mean, how many albums does this guy have in him of this material?
It's spectacular. And there's not a bad song in there. He's so prolific, him and Miles Kennedy, obviously that's super special together.
And then Miles going solo, and then Miles doing stuff with Slash. Another one, just more like
just churning it out.
Songs out of them. Yeah, it's crazy.
The worst thing somebody told me was John Lennon said to somebody, "Well, the well's going to run dry one day," and like that's in my head. I'm like, "Is my well dry?"
Well, sometimes you just tap another spot to get the spring going again. That's all.
Yeah.
Inspiration, and sometimes it's that's what drives people. That's why usually artists have so much going on, or more tragedy, all kinds of things.
Right.
Sometimes you get too happy or complacent. It's like
Right. Yeah, but you're right, Tremonti. My God, just all this Creed solo and Alter Bridge, just putting it out. And I just heard they're doing another Alter Bridge record right now.
I'm sure. Damn. They probably just did an album while we were talking.
Yes.
It's a new double album just done when we started this interview. I mean,
yes, it's unbelievable.
The bar is raised by them. And, and that's the thing. So like, but him coming out, it really wasn't so grungy. He had the rock thing. So that is really kind of weird how like the overlap of newer, younger musicians that were coming out at the tail end of metal, but went right into grunge. So you kind of had their legs on each side of the fence, how that developed, to the next generation.
Right, yeah.
I mean, was that where you were getting, your Tremonti, you were getting some of the guys from Shinedown, some of the other bands, you feel like there's definitely a rock and metal influence.
Yes, right.
But it's not the same as what it was also.
No, but another band I love, Shinedown, and just they still have that rock element, a lot of melody, lots of melody, and I love them. They're great. 6 a.m., just all good stuff.
Well, 6 a.m. was in the 80s, guys off from the 80s, so they know how to write a good metal song. And a good
yes. He's tremendous, Nikki Sixx. Very.
It was a great mixture, though, too.
Yes.
All three of the guys together made a good combo. So to that point, you did some other stuff, but then you guys got back together again. And you guys have been doing stuff on and off.
Well, me and Mark never lost touch. My drummer, Dave, was married to my wife's sister. So, he was family.
It was him.
Yes. And unfortunately, they're divorced now, but it's all good. And Steve and George, we still kept in touch. Like, that's what made us, like, not special, but we had that bond. Like, we went through the highest of highs together, the lowest of lows. And we were still family. So, like, back in, 2007, 2008, like, we stopped playing. Okay. Like, 93, 94, American Pie, that was the band with Sean. We just said, enough is enough. We're not getting anywhere. And like Dave said, we were forced to find other ways to survive. And that was a good thing. I ran an ad in the newspaper, and my mom, being a classical pianist, always had me teaching. And I'm like Reggie from Heaven's Edge, looking, giving guitar lessons. I got my first 17 students in 93. And just that's all I do now. So I'm truly blessed, and it's awesome. And you lose touch with people, but with Facebook and all the social media, I'm still in touch with all my students from back in the day. It's pretty cool to see. Now they're grown ups with kids and stuff. It's very cool. And so 93 through, I think we did 2 gigs, 93 through 2013. One was for our friend Tom Gillum, who was the singer for a big band in Jersey called Gypsy Rose. He was sick, so they needed a benefit. And there was another for Tommy Carter for the band called the Dead End Kids. They were phenomenal. And Dead End Kids should have been our Motley Crue from this area. They were just awesome. If you ever just ask around, people like everything Cinderella, Brittany Fox, and Heaven's Edge did, we all stole from the Dead End Kids. They spun the guitars in unison, the kicks, everything was Dead End Kids. And big time influence on all of us. And so Tommy was the bass player for the Dead End Kids. So I think it was just those 2 gigs. But then like around 2007, 2008, this guy Kieran starts calling me up and it's like, you got to come to London and play. And I'm like, dude, I'm not coming to London and play. It's like, he's just like, you got to come. So yeah, year after year, he would hit us up, like, come out. And we get these offers for Rocklahoma. And I'm like, guys, like, that music's like 20 years old at this point, it's hair metal and I don't have hair anymore, so like I'm not doing it. And then my wife, she had breast cancer and she beat it. And that was 2013. I was like, you know what? You only live once. Let's go do this gig, So we rounded up the guys, we went out to London and we had the most spectacular time of our life. We played in at this thing, Firefest, and the audience knew like all the words. It was spectacular. I'm like, holy cow, like there's really a scene. And after that, we just said, let's do a couple of these a year, and then we got involved with the Monsters of Rock cruises, the Monsters of the Mountain, and the M3s, and just doing some of these festivals just to, dip our feet in and feel good about it once or twice a year.
Well, that's good. I mean, a lot of these bands are doing better now, doing less gigs and just flyouts.
Yeah.
Than they were back in the day. Right. It's kind of funny.
I can't do the, just gigging from night to night. It's just not.
I don't think anybody does that anymore, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, you don't make any money. I think, who's it? With the Enough's Enough situation with the split band.
Okay.
Donnie has said that, the market value is more, he will make more money. And this is actually in relation to all bands that have done a split. You know what I'm saying? If you fly into a gig more central, you'll probably make more money there than going town to town in that little area for $50 a night, $50 a night. And you really then come back again a second time. You're really kind of beating it. It's a little more excitement if you come in once.
Yes, absolutely.
So the market value, and it wasn't a dig towards the other members, Enough's Enough. But it's just the fact that other bands have said that too. Your market value is different if you're just oversaturate the market.
Exactly. Like we've been offered to do, like go to Maryland and play, or come up to like your way and play. But we're like, let's just go do one gig and we'll do M3 in Maryland, rather than, we love this club called Hammerjacks, which I heard is now reopened again. And we've gotten it. Yeah, I heard they're reopening again. And, but for us, it doesn't make sense to do it there and then go to M3, like it just, like, you don't want to oversaturate. And same thing here in Philly. Like we just got offered to do a big show sometime in June and it's got, 30 bands on it. I don't know who are some of the bands on it, but I'm just like, well, if we do that, that'll kill our, like we usually try to do like one local show a year pre-COVID. We've obviously been off for the last 2 years. And I said, well, if we do this thing in June, it's going to hurt our numbers maybe in the fall, Yeah. So
it could be, we've had a few loyal people. Yeah. I went to Hammerjacks. I was too young when I lived originally down the Baltimore, Maryland area. But later on, when I was in school, we ended up driving down there. Up there. To go do the clubs. I always wanted to go to Hammerjacks. Hammerjacks is awesome.
Oh my God, what a club. You felt like a rock star there, the big lights, the crowd, the balcony, people looking down. It was pretty awesome. Definitely our favorite place to play.
But the thing is, just like get off my lawn type of thing. But the clubs back then were really pretty good, though. I mean, really, when you're seeing rock shows back in the 80s and late into the 90s, There was always like in Atlanta. You ever play Masquerade?
No, we never did that.
It was like two or three floors, and like when you go in, it was like it was heaven, hell, and like purgatory, and like purgatory. I could be remembering this totally wrong and inaccurate,
Right.
and if people hear that and want to correct me, don't. Um, no, but like it was like it's like a cafe, like a psychedelic weird alternative cafe, and then in heaven upstairs where all the bands played, we used to see like Pantera and Prong and everyone,
Holy cow.
and all the rock bands. That's where I saw them was up there, and they had a huge stage and stuff, and the fencing around it, and downstairs hell was like a dance club. And it was a big mixture, and all bodyguards were like 8 feet tall and black. But clubs are awesome. You know what I'm saying? It was just
Right.
nowadays you're not going to see that.
Oh my God. My students come in and they're like, we had a great gig last night. It was packed. There was like 40 people. I'm like, that's awesome. I'm like, wow.
I guess that was my guest list.
Yeah. I'm just like, wow, things have shortchanged. So,
Well, and the media presence is different too because they can be a celebrity on
right.
Instagram, but they go down the road and
Right.
they get 10 people in the club.
Right. I know. It's nuts. So
And
that's where we lack. I do not know the whole marketing with the internet. Like some of my students, like, they put out something and they get 1 million hits. I'm like, I put out something and I get like 6 hits. I'm like, how are you doing this?
Well, I'll say I have a few things I've been kind of playing around with it. And I have keep my numbers are a little bit lower than others because I'm not the aggressive at promotion because I'm more about quality and talking to people and stuff. But like these, I don't think all these clicks and numbers always translate unless you're like this huge, huge, huge thing and you're like selling like makeup or something. I mean,
right.
1 million clicks is not going to mean you're making money off it just because people are looking at it or curious.
Right.
Ad. I click on things all the time that I'm not going to get. How does it
Right.
translate into money?
Yeah.
If they get money and they're living on their own, you have a website with 1 million things, but if you're still living at your parents' house, you're not that impressed.
Right.
But
Right.
PR agencies are looking at those numbers. I hear it from me. I hear it from other people. Other bigger celebrities have platinum albums. PR agencies are like, yeah, but what are your numbers? They're like, I've had a couple platinum albums.
Right. Yeah, I don't know what it translates to. All I know is I had a little side band which called Ever After,
Mhm.
and we put a lot of work into it. And Jim Durnick on drums. He was originally with Tangier and Cinderella.
Wow.
Buddy Cash from Hide Your Daughters, just killer bass player. And then we had a singer from Denver. We found him on Craigslist, and we kind of record this thing without ever meeting each other. We just send stuff around, and we finally finished 12 songs. We put out a CD, and I'm like on Facebook, and at that time back in Facebook, I'm accepting everybody. My wife's just like, you don't even know these people. I'm like, I'm just taking anybody I can. So when the time comes, I can be like, check this out, and I got my 5,000 friends, and the Ever After CD comes out, and I throw it on there. We're not even trying to make money. We just want people to hear it. And I'm like, check out this Ever After CD, and here's the YouTube link. And then I get this little thing saying, if you want to boost this post for $20, I'm like, and then I look at my numbers and I'd be like, wow, like 5 people liked it. Like my dog could sneeze and I could get, 300 people liking it. It's just like, so somehow in their algorithms, they know how to squash it,
The band and doing stuff at your age. I'm 51 and you're 59. Watching you guys do your stage mark, you're so choreographed doing those moves. That to me seems like it's probably harder to do.
It sure is.
Playing music at this point to be doing some of those moves. All right.
That's why we only do 2 gigs a year, because it takes us all that time to recover.
You can shred on your couch, but you guys are like turning and kicking, and like I'm like, there goes my back. It would be booze in the back, would be like aspirin and like heating pads, and
we definitely feel it a lot more. I know that Mark was just saying that it takes me like 2 or 3 days to recover from a show, and me, I still am like after my wife, with the breast cancer and all that stuff, I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna work out. So I do like this insanity workout every morning. I haven't missed a day in like 12 years. And
really,
yeah, I'm just like, I'm insane with this. Like I'm about as OCD. My wife is screaming about how OCD I am. And I have to get it in. It just starts my day off right. Just a half hour, 45 minutes of insanity. And, T25, like Insanity Max. What's the other one? P90. I just have all my little DVDs. Oh, look, I even have it here. I just did it this morning,
Wow.
So.
Do you get that from Napster? No.
And I just do it, and it just makes me feel good. It's just like, and I swear it gives me energy when we do play. Like, I feel like I could run around all night on stage, because this is like, these insanity programs are grueling. Like, I remember when I first started, I was going to throw up,
Yeah, I mean, you guys still perform at the same level. I mean, from
Oh, thanks.
It's crazy. I mean, that's I noticed. I'm like, wow, you guys are not dialing it in at all. I mean, it's,
Well, at the beginning, it was we were like, should we do it? Like, is it cheesy now? Like, do you think people will look down? And my bass player George was like, people will look forward to it. Let's go up and just have fun. Who cares what people think? And so we just did it, and we got such a good response. We said we got to keep doing it. Of course, coming soon, we'll be doing our kicks from a wheelchair, and
choreographed, and somebody pushing your chairs around together.
Yes.
You all get your nurses to work together to do the turns at the same time.
Yeah. Spin us. So.
Yeah, you got that. But it was, I was watching you got like little cues, to do certain moves, because obviously there's some flexibility in it. But you guys know your little cues when to jump in and do those little moves too. It's pretty well thought out.
It's just it's funny. We've just been doing these songs for so long. Like, I don't think we could do these songs without the moves. The moves are like almost as part as the notes. We're just so used to it, So
it is really good. So let's talk about a little bit what you've been doing for teaching. And so you are accepting students, right?
I'm always accepting students, and just my mom, she's a classical piano teacher, and she had us going age 3. You got to play the piano, and age 3rd grade, you got to pick up a second instrument, and so she would. Like, I was 15 and I had my first student, and I would, Charlie Granito, I'll never forget. And, I always taught. And and it's funny, talking about, the sadness that's going on in my life with my parents, and just, so we're cleaning out their house.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, look at this. Like, my mom, had me writing songs in 1973 when I was 11 years old, And I'm like, look how neat my handwriting was.
It is really neat.
I'm like, you should see my handwriting now. My students make fun of me. It's like my handwriting's illegible at all. February 1st.
That was because you were supposed to be a doctor. That's your doctor handwriting.
Yes. You see, that's my writing. Yeah. But 1973, and so I found all these songs I wrote when I was a little kid.
Now you have to release them, right? It's gonna be a big release date for it. I want to be at that party.
And then I found these amazing. I gotta plug my mom with all that's going on. But look at these songs she wrote. I'm just like, look at these songs, Mom. You're spectacular. She wrote a song for my sister. I didn't get one. I don't know what happened there.
Wait, what did your sister do for a career?
Well, she's now a dentist, but my sister's the prodigy of the family.
She got a rope job, so there you go.
She toured the world as a pianist at age 12 to 14. We have video of her with full 88-piece orchestras behind her, and her playing the piano, and she did Spain, Norway, China, Italy. Here, my little sister's kicking my ass in the music world, and she turned 17, got accepted to UPenn, and that was it. She's like, I'm done. She still loves piano, but she just does it now for fun. Same as my brother. He's a infectious disease doctor up in Connecticut, and he's an awesome musician as well. But I'm the only one who, unfortunately, didn't become a doctor. I just stuck with the music.
Well, maybe Rob thought you could write your own songs. But that level, but being a classical musician, the level is different. It's not as much party. It's very dry. It's a lot of practicing. It's not as much fun as a career being a rock and roller.
Yes, no, it's definitely not. But
the clothes is not as cool.
Definitely not as cool. But I just want to how much my mom instilled music in all of us, and that led to today's teaching. When the band got dropped by Columbia, I was the only one in the band that had a family. I had a little girl at that point. She must have been 93. She probably was 5 or 6. And it was Panicsville. I had all my custom Ibanez guitars. I was like, I had the fifth. So Ibanez came to me and they're like, Steve Vai invented the 7-string. Are you interested in it? And I'm like, yeah. Like, not even know. They're like, well, Steve's getting the first 4 and we'll give you the 5th one. And like on the back, it's the numbers was like 00005. So like the 5th one ever made. I sold that for like $400, and somebody was just like, just in the last 5 years, I was just like talking to somebody Guitar Center and telling them the story. And they're like, that guitar is probably worth a lot more than $400.
Yeah, like a house. Probably.
Yeah. I'm just like, don't even tell me that. But you do whatever you have to do to survive,
Right. It's so wrong. But that is amazing though.
I know. And then you fast forward a couple of years later, it's Facebook. I found the guy. He's actually a friend of mine, Andy. And I'm like, dude, would you think of selling that guitar back to me? And he's like, absolutely not. That's my baby. I'm like, no problem. It's all good. You saved my butt back then, So.
At least you know where it is and it's still being played. That's the other thing with instruments and musicians. How many can you play?
Yes.
You have here. You mean now I can look behind me and tell you I have my kids play. I have a couple of mine, the Ibanez, actually 2 Ibanez and the Aria Pro are mine. A couple of my kids, the ukuleles and the bass. So everyone has a handful, through the house that they still play. I mean, because there's a point where you have too many.
Right.
For me, at least,
Right.
I'm
not that guy. I'm like you.
I like to look at them, but I also can understand, like, if you look at, like Steve Vai's Harmony Hut, and I go, all right, if I had that in my wall, I wouldn't have a problem with it either.
Right, absolutely. Or Joe Bonamassa, like
right.
Slash and Yingwei.
Nerdville and stuff. I mean, I love that. I'll geek out. But in my world of money and how I live, I'm like, in my skill level, I'm like, I feel good with a couple of guitars. I'd feel weird having a wall full. You know?
I mean, my guitar tech always says I'm the easiest guy to work with because since 1977, I've been playing the same Strat. This is it. I'm a one guitar player dude. And 99% of the pictures of me are all with the same guitar.
So what kind of is it? What kind of guitar is it?
It was a Fender Stratocaster. I went to get my, I guess it would be my 4th or 5th fret job on it. Mm-hmm. And the guy, my tech was just like, there's no more wood to work with. So I had to go get another neck. I went to this company based, I don't remember the name. They're out of Vineland. They specialize in Fender necks. They took all my dimensions on my Fender neck and duped it. I always like the Joe Perry look, the upside down headstock. So I'm
hockey stick.
Yeah. The only thing I did different was that. But other than that, this is my Fender neck. And I worked on a tomato farm back in 1977. I made $400 that summer, and my dad funded me the other 400. And this is the guitar that I use. If you look at all the videos, it's this guitar.
The guitar.
I start the show with it and I end the show with it. So if I break a string, that's the only time you'll see another guitar on me. So
what is your other guitar? What is your backup guitar? Another what do you
got? With a lot of these shows, like the M3s and the Monsters of Rock, they'll have other guitars for you. And that's what I'll just use one of theirs. Because, checking, flying into a gig, checking like multiple guitars in your suitcases and stuff is a pain.
So you just bring your one.
I just bring the one.
You buy a ticket for it? Do you have a separate ticket for it?
I will beg and plead. I'm like, can I bring it on? And a lot of times, sometimes they'll let me bring it on, but a lot of times they'll let me bring it up to just as you're about to get on the plane, and they'll walk it down with the strollers and the wheelchairs and place it in there. I won't check it back at the luggage because, I just get scared of what.
Pretty soon, like you said, you might be guys in wheelchairs, and you can just keep your guitar in your lap when you're getting wheeled out for your performance. So
along with my wheelchair.
Along with your wheelchair. They're pushing you in the wheelchair. You kind of grab your guitar on your way down the thing. But the model for a lot of these bands now, they're doing these shows is they have extra guitars, but they only bring their one guitar.
Yep.
They'll buy a ticket for it usually, or like they'll figure out a way to get it on protected because you don't want to do luggage.
Right.
Or, you got to protect it's usually one guitar and they have backups or something like that. Even the sound systems are all like broken down in like tiny modules now, and everyone's got everything totally. With a roadie can put everything to like one box,
Right.
And they plug in like the new PA system adapter modules into that PA system. They're like, everything is so easy now. You can have like one person and, carry your gear.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, the days I just remember like all I wanted was like two Marshall stacks growing up, you know. I'm just like, I want these two Marshall stacks, and I finally got it. And you know, the days of lugging that around are like done for me. I'm like, forget that. Like, I'll just bring a little combo amp and
Exactly.
you
And that's the
know,
thing. What are you using for gauges in your strings? I love to ask.
10, I use the 10 gauge, 10 Diodaros, 10 through 48, 42, 48, somewhere around there.
That's what so the big thing is we were talking about strings and everything else and strong fingers and are you how often are you playing now? Well, you're being a teacher, you probably play more than most people because a lot of people
Yeah, but
like they
it's
don't
like
play that much, you know.
I play a lot. Well, I'm addicted to the piano. Another thing my wife thinks I'm insane. I'm down there every day for half hour, just trying to dissect like Chopin or Liszt and just trying to figure out like, wow, these guys freaking wrote these songs. I would say they wrote these by candlelight. You know, they didn't have what we have today, you know, Pro
No.
Tools or Logic or whatever. They were just writing it out. And it just blows my mind. You know, like those are the true geniuses of the world. So I'm big time into piano. And then along with that, I did back off practicing guitar for years. When grunge hit, I'm like, why bother practicing anymore? Nobody, you know, and I'm killing myself for those years. I feel like those are lost years. I should have you know, because I'm real regimented in my thing, and so I've been playing a lot, trying to recoup, you know, trying to get some chops going again. But the arthritis is killing
Are
me.
you teaching piano too?
I teach piano and guitar, bass, drums. I'll do whatever, you know, and and it's fun, you know. I love my students, and so I'm playing, but I'm not playing because I'm like, this is a C chord, you know, and I'm trying to. You know, it's not. I backed away from the shredders. I've had so many shredders through the years, and the one thing I found out, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but like musicians are very unreliable. You know, they either got gigs or
Yeah.
they don't have money. They're all the thing. So I backed off, and I said I got to get more consistent with my teaching, and I just went more family oriented. You know, and I just love the little kids. You know, and I don't care. You know, we're learning, you know, when the Saints go marching in or Mary had a little lamb, you know. So it's not like I'm playing anymore, you know. But back in the when I first started teaching, I would get all shredders, you know, and I'd be like, holy shit, I gotta start practicing, you know, try to keep up, you know. But now, you know, I'm just like teaching the latest Olivia Rodrigo song or the Billie Eilish songs. You know, no shredding in those songs.
Well, I said that it's always interesting to me when you say like where certain people aren't on tour or they're like, yeah, I put the guitar down, they don't touch it for months on end. You know what I mean?
Well, no, that's on me. There's a
But
guitar in
you've
my
heard
hand
that
every
though.
day.
I know I can think
Yeah,
of a bunch of players. So I've gone on
yeah.
interviews. And I'm like, what? And they're like, I don't know calluses on my hand. I'm like, I was playing today and I haven't played that much lately. And my hand was hurting, like, especially an acoustic. It's like
Oh yeah.
even if you have decent strings, it's not the cheap steel ones. It's like just regular nice strings. You're still
Right.
still like the metal splitters for the egg salad or the egg slitters. The
Right,
metal
right, 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 right.
like slice.
Oh, no, I'm on a guitar every day, and you know, and I'm starting to pick it up again, you know, and just trying to get my tone together, um, and just you know, just getting back into it again. You know, we got M3 coming up in a couple of months. I think what May 7th we're doing M3, and don't want to make an ass myself out of myself, so I gotta at least try to show up because those shows like friggin' every guitar player is great, and you're just like, damn.
I've yet to go to any of those things or any of the boat things, or I haven't gone to any. I'm not a big fan of crowds or boats and stuff, but
Yeah.
I'm looking at these things. I'm like, people keep telling me, you gotta go, you gotta go. So I might make it to one of these soon.
It's funny. Like I literally do our show and I'm out of there. I don't hang. I don't watch any of the other bands. I just yeah. We just did a Monsters of the Mountain. I guess last October. I guess it was. I don't even know November. And it was with you know, a whole bunch of bands and we played and left and then I get back to the hotel and they're like, Vince Neil just fell off the stage and broke 3 ribs. He like went on like right after us or something. Like, oh my God, I should have stayed. Not that I want to see the guy get hurt, but like I'm like, oh, I missed all the action, you know?
It's, But did you have relationships with these guys also? Because you guys came from Philly and the time you guys were on the same tour, like a lot of these artists now, it's like high school reunions because they all played together in LA and they're all in different bands together that swapped out
Right.
different versions. So they have
No,
so
I
it's
mean,
the
the
camping.
guys in my band definitely had relationships, especially my drummer. I mean, he's just in the industry, so he knows everybody. I was always the guy with the family, so I just backed off. I don't, I know some of the guys out there enough to say hello, but I still, I met Nuno Betancourt, I met him a couple of times, but apparently I met him, on the last cruise and I couldn't even talk, I'm like, well, I'm like, I think I told him I like your songs. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I told Nuno Betancourt I like your songs. Like I couldn't come up with anything better than that.
I'm sure he gets that quite a bit. He's the most chill dude too, like and a great singer. You hear him sing?
I
He's
love his solo stuff almost better than Extreme.
yeah,
He's just,
super talented.
oh my God, just mega talented. One of the best guitar players out there. And we're friends with Robbie, their manager.
Mhm.
And they supposedly have an album in the can that is supposed to be just mind blowing. I can't wait till it comes out. I guess they're shopping it around for the right label, but from the people that have heard it, have just said it's a mind blowing. And I can't even imagine. Nuno's like spectacular on the guitar.
He can go and you can see him on YouTube playing a small club with somebody. And then he's also, 15 minutes later, he was playing like on tour with Rihanna. And
Yeah.
then 5 days later, he's on tour with Extreme. And then he's also back in a club again doing something else. Like it's just guitar wherever.
Guitar, yes. He's definitely obviously my path, with all the people that I loved were like, I started with Richie Blackmore, just, and obsessed with him. And then Eddie Van Halen came along and that changed my life.
Eddie actually, you can hear it in some of your style,
just like Eddie was just it. And then Randy Rhoads, but very sadly, I heard it was just 40 years since the plane crash, like yesterday or something. That's insane. So that was cut too short. And then I, got in my Yngwie phase, but there's only a certain amount of notes you can listen to.
So long. This is really good, but you get ear fatigue from me because there's a certain point where I just can't focus on it anymore.
Yes, it's just like yeah,
it's impressive. It's like Guinness Records impressive.
Yes, yes.
I do need a song, especially the older I get. I need a song to meet on it.
Absolutely. So and then Nuno comes along and just blows my mind, and that was it. And so now like my two faves are still like well, I love them all. You could I love all the guitar players out there, but Nuno's spectacular. Tremonti, love those guys.
Two of the guitarists I've been talking about a lot lately on the show is that I also love is Alan Holdsworth, who's passed at this point, and
spectacular,
and Jeff Beck. Those are some.
Oh my God, spectacular!
Still playing. Jeff Beck is still getting better. I mean, like,
oh my God,
bigger than he is. You know what I mean? He's like the guitarist.
Yes, his guitar talks to you. Like I feel like it talks. It's just like the way he's got that whammy in his hand, and it's just so much emotion. He's just awesome. Just unbelievable.
He's out, and same thing with Holdsworth. Didn't get bigger. Like it's just.
Well, Holdsworth for me, obviously Eddie Van Halen was a big Holdsworth guy, and I loved Holdsworth. Was he like maybe a little bit in UK? A little bit. I don't even remember like some of the bands he was in.
Where he's from? Oh, I can't tell.
No. There was a band called UK.
Oh yeah, he was. It was like it's only like 1 or 2 albums, I think, right?
Yeah, In the Still of Night or something. Not the Still of the Night, the White Snake. I don't know. They had some of the song. So that was my first introduction to him, and he was just on another level. Like I didn't understand what he was doing.
It always happens like that. And to everyone else, this is obviously usually you'll be a repeat. We'll have you back. I know as new things come up in the Heaven's Edge camp. You reach out and we'll talk. We'll be in touch.
Oh, absolutely. We have some good news coming up coming up soon. So we'll definitely keep in touch.
We will. Excellent. All right.